Well, hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. Stephen Irvine is a Scottish-born musician who is most known as the drummer for Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. He was an integral member of the rhythm section of the band on all three of the albums, 1984's Rattlesnakes, 85's Easy Pieces, and 1987's Mainstream. The rest of the lineup was Lloyd Cole, lead vocals and guitar, Neil Clark, lead guitar, Blair Cowan, keyboards, and Lawrence Donegan on bass. Stephen briefly played in the bands The Kissing Bandits and The Heartbeats, and would work with ex-Commotions bandmate Neil Clark in Bloomsday. This band also included Chris Thomson, Friends Again, Bathers, see my interview from October 16th of 2022, and bassist Mark Bedford. The unit released a single and an album in 1990. Mr. Irvine has also done session work with Amitri, French singer-songwriter Etienne Daho, and Sarah Cracknell. My guest has also managed artists and bands and worked with MTV. Well, welcome, Stephen.
Hi.
Thank you for being here, and thanks for...
thank you for asking me.
Sure. Thanks for taking time out to do this. Well, take us back to the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in 1959.
Okay.
Just right at the very end. So all through my life, the digit at the end of the year is pretty much the same as the digit at the end of my age. Okay. So in 1982, I was 22, for instance.
Oh, that's easy to keep up with then.
Yes, indeed.
Especially as we get older, right?
Exactly.
Right. Was it, were you born in Glasgow?
I was born in Glasgow, yes, south side of Glasgow. I grew up in Glasgow and went to school and became a musician there. And worked in Glasgow until I left and moved to London in the mid-80s.
Okay. Do you have, early on, do you remember hearing music in the household?
Yeah, my mum and dad have Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett fans.
Okay.
And Perry Como and Johnny Mathis, all that sort of crooners, basically. My family. I was going to say they loved the crooners.
They loved the crooners.
Yeah, and then David Bowie came along.
Okay, just shot that. What about, were either one of your parents musically inclined at all?
Nope, nobody in my family was musically inclined until me.
Okay. Wonder where that gene came from.
Watching the pops.
Right. Well, how about, let me ask you this, were the drums the first instrument you learned to play, or did you learn another instrument?
No, drums were the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went around to, after school one time, I went around to a friend's house and he had all sorts of instruments. I had a Hammond organ and guitars and basses and cellos, and he had a drum set in the corner. And I tried them all, and then I sat at the drums and I thought, well, this was more up my street.
Okay. How about your parents? They didn't let you play drums in the house, did they?
They did, actually. But it took me 18 months to persuade my dad to buy me a drum kit. And then, we had it set up in my bedroom after school. I would practice in there.
Okay.
And my mum wouldn't tell me to stop until dinner was ready.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they were somewhat...
The neighbors weren't very happy, but my mum was fine.
They were somewhat encouraging.
Yeah.
How about, can you recall one of the first singles or albums that you bought?
Yep. First single I bought was 19, blimey, I was just a baby. It's like 6 or 7 years old. A track by the Shadows called Foot Tapper.
Okay.
By the Shadows, who used to be Cliff Richard's backing band.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I still love that track. And that was what basically the guy and the drummer in the Shadows was fantastic. And then the first album I bought was Honky Chateau by Elton John.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah. I was a late comer to Elton John. Didn't get into him till a little later on, but then I had to buy everything. Yeah. That's a nice album, though.
That was a really good album, and I went to see him in November 1975. So when he came out with Yellow Brick Road, I went to see him.
Okay.
In Glasgow, so that's 75, was it?
I think it's mid-70s. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
A great double album. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
saw him a little later. Saw him a couple of times, but probably the late '70s is when. Yeah,
Mm.
so yeah. Well, how about talk about some other artists and musicians that you were getting into as a teenager.
As a teen, well, Roxy Music,
Okay,
David Bowie, T-Rex.
you liked a lot of the glam stuff.
Well, didn't realize it was glam at the time, you know. In retrospect, it seemed like glam. At the time, it just seemed really cool, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And also a couple of bands I was playing were covering bands like Tower of Power
Oh, okay.
and Steely Dan and America.
Oh,
A few
yeah.
America tracks.
Oh, yes. Love America.
Yeah. So Ventura Highway, Sister
Oh,
Golden Hair. Yeah.
oh, great, great tracks. Yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah. And I hadn't heard them until my daughter was now 23. One day she put a track on in the car. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I know this. Sister Golden Hair. And I was saying, okay, hold on, what's the drum fill coming up now?
Right. There was a Kmart that was close to us. It's closed. Well, I no longer live near there, but I remember I used to buy a lot of 45s there, and I remember getting that Sister Golden Hair. That was one of them. Yes, yes, yes. Great
Actually,
harmonies.
but now that I think about it, and you mentioned supermarkets, I think I actually bought a different album before I bought Honky Chateau. I think I remember buying in the Safeway, in Glasgow where we lived, in the Safeway,
Yeah.
it was a Music for Pleasure album, Little Stevie Wonder,
Oh, okay.
when he was 12.
When he was young. Yes, yes.
Well, that was the first album I ever bought.
Oh, okay. It's coming back now.
But Honky Chateau was the first one I bought consciously to listen to because I liked Elton John. Stevie Wonder, I just bought it because it was sitting there safe. I thought, that's good. I like that.
Right. Yeah, we used to have Safeways here too.
Yeah.
I remember one not too far. Well, how about can you recall first concert or one of the first concerts that you went to? You attended?
One of the first concerts was that Elton John concert, I think.
Okay. Okay.
But other than that, no, maybe before that, it was the Who.
Okay. Oh wow.
My older brother was a big Who fan,
Yeah.
and we saw them in the Glasgow Apollo. And in those days, you could only buy tickets from the box office.
Yeah.
So the night before the tickets went on sale, we went and camped out. There was a huge queue right around the block.
Yeah, I remember.
Around the block and down the street.
Yeah.
We camped out and bought tickets to go and see the Who. That was on the Who by Numbers tour.
Oh, okay.
With
Yes.
of course the original lineup.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first gig I went, the first proper gig I went to see. I don't know, I was just a kid then, I was just 13 or something.
Yeah. You remember did Keith Moon behave himself or
Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right.
And he had a big double bass drum white Premier kit with bronze lugs and bronze fittings.
Yeah.
And Pete Townsend played Les Paul gold tops with numbers on them, different numbers, like numbers 1 to 10 or something.
Yeah.
We just changed guitar every couple of songs.
Yeah. Yes. And then John was the stoic one.
Yeah, but also bloody
Yeah.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that
Right.
was at the time when Daltrey had his mic all taped up and he was swinging it through the air. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. He used to do that.
Long curly locks.
I don't think you try that these days. He probably hit himself in the head. Well,
Bad back.
you're right. Right. Well, how about was there any kind of a music scene developing around you at that time, or starting to develop?
Well, not really. Not that I'm. There was the sort of slightly later on. There was
Okay.
the postcard scene, but I wasn't really part of that. I was just playing with different little local bands, you know.
Right. Right.
And then the postcard thing happened, and that was super trendy and cool.
Yeah, yeah. And prior to that, I mean, Scotland, if you wanted to make it, you're a Scottish musician, you had to relocate to London.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Until there was yeah, yeah. But yeah, that postcard really brought a lot of attention to Scotland for sure.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, how about your first actual band that you were in?
Well, the first actual band was with a guy called John Malarkey, and yeah, we used to rehearse in my bedroom, and then we were rehearsing, and he went away for the summer to work in Bucklands or something, and he wrote me a letter saying he'd found the future of music, and it was a band called the Ramones,
Okay, all right.
And I was like, wow, that's quite interesting because that was nothing like what we were doing at all.
Yeah.
and and by the time he came back, I was already playing with another band. So well, that kind of ended that. But I remember that must have been summer of '76. That must have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you were you influenced somewhat from that New York scene, the music?
No, not really. I was more into the sort of Elton John, Gallagher and Lyle,
Okay.
Ben Lizzie, sort of a bit more west coast and a bit of more west coast of Scotland. I mean, which
Right.
is which has got a west coast of America influences, but also Irish influence as well.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've talked to different ones, and I don't know, for some reason that New York, with Lou Reed, Velvet Underground, and Television, Patti Smith,
Well,
we're very
my experience of them came later
later
with
on.
the likes of Lawrence and Lloyd and the Commotions.
Okay. 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 All right. All right. That did come into play.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Segue into that.
yeah.
The formation of Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. How you guys got together.
Well, they Lloyd and Neil and Blair were already working together as a threesome, and then they did a demo which got some interest, and they asked me to come and do a showcase with them because I was playing with lots of different bands at the time, and so we did a showcase, and then we got offered a record deal.
Okay. Well,
And
Lloyd
yeah,
originally from England, and he was going to school there, right?
he was at university in Glasgow. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where he met Blair and also Derek, the manager.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you recall being signed?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was just quite interesting because there were no mobile phones in those days.
Right. Right.
And we had a few offers on the table. I remember we went down to South Molton Street in London, which is around the corner from most of the record company offices. And we were in a cafe there, and Derek, the manager, would go out to a phone box and make a phone call to the lawyer who had been speaking to the all the various record companies' lawyers, and all the different offers were coming in. He'd come back and relay them to us, and then yeah, it was all very exciting and quite hairy,
Yeah.
very exciting. But yeah, so at the end of that day, we decided to sign with Polydor. So
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
that.
Yeah, that must have been.
Part of that, I think, was because the A&R guy was also Scottish.
Oh, that helped. Yeah. You guys help each other out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I forgot to ask you, did most of the members, you guys have similar musical influences, like the same kind of music?
Well, obviously, as we got to know each other, we'd be playing each other's stuff. But I was more into, as I say, I was more into sort of a little bit of country western stuff, and a bit of pop, really. And as I say, Bowie and Elton John, the Roxy music. I think Neil was into XTC stuff like that,
Okay.
and I think Lloyd originally had been the big Isaac Hayes fan,
Oh, okay.
and he was doing a sort of soul thing before.
Yeah.
And Lawrence was into this Buffalo Springfield
Oh, okay. Right.
and the Velvets,
Okay.
and Blair was a big Steely Dan fan.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I had talked to another Scottish musician, and he's talked about how influential Steely Dan was too.
Yeah,
So, yeah, yeah.
depends on what circles you moved in. So you're either a Steely Dan fan or you're a Little Feat fan.
Little
You
feet.
could possibly be both.
Yeah. Right. Lowell George. Oh man.
Well, I latterly, well, after I first heard them, I definitely fell into the Little Feat camp.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I was late. I was late coming into their camp too. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it though. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Oh, and so sad that he passed early
Yeah.
like that. Wow. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
well, do you recall you guys got together playing some of the early shows, their early live gigs?
Yeah, we didn't do that many.
Sure.
We did a few. There's actually cut a couple of them on YouTube somewhere. In the nightclubs in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And then as I say, we got signed, and then the next thing we started playing bigger gigs. One the Marquee in London was one of our early gigs.
Oh,
We
okay.
did a few in Glasgow, and then we did the Marquee was quite a big one for us.
I was going to say that was the place to play. And
Yeah.
of course, going back a few, probably a decade before, that was if you could get a residency there, you were really happening.
Yeah.
Marquee.
Actually, that concert was filmed. One of our very early concerts was filmed there.
Is that right? Okay. Well, and you said it's on YouTube. It's yeah.
I think it's on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
I think it's called Live at the Marquee.
Okay.
As they all are, I think.
I'll have to look for that. Well, how long had you guys been, probably Lloyd, mostly writing material before
I guess he'd been doing that for a few years.
Okay.
Certainly, I met them towards the second half of 1983, and we got signed over the Christmas holiday period between 83, 84. So I think they've been together for, as Lloyd Cole The Commotions, maybe a year before that, maybe 6 months.
Okay.
That's a question for Neil more than me.
Okay. All right. Well, you did come out with your first album in '84, Rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite of the three albums.
It stands up. It's a good record.
Yes, it does. So many good tracks on there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of times with bands, before the first album, you have forever to come up with the material. But then if you're signed to a label, the demand is we need another one next year, or whatever.
You have to do it when you're touring.
Right, in touring, and then it's kind of coming up with new material. You're kind of under pressure to do that a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was when we went into the studio, there was I think we finished writing, or Lloyd finished the lyrics for 3 or 4 of the songs after we started recording them, and I think there was a couple that he just introduced to the band while we were recording the album. So we only had half a dozen or 8, 9 songs before we went in.
Okay, that's interesting. Well,
no, I'm sure there were a lot of songs in the catalog, but as a rehearsed up as the band, not that many.
Not that many. Okay. Yeah, and I didn't realize this just doing the research that Rick Ocasek remixed 3 songs.
The only one that came out was Perfect
for the U.S. release. For the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect Skin, 4 Flights Up, Patience.
I don't think 4 Flights Up and Patience ever saw the light of day as mixes.
Okay. Probably
unless it came out in the US, but I have no recollection of hearing those mixes.
Okay.
And the mix of Perfect Skin, it's good. I prefer the original mix, but
Yeah. I just thought that was an odd pairing of Rick Ocasek.
Yes.
Kind of strange. Guess he was.
You're trying to get a break. You can't. Anybody with a name you can attach yourself to. I guess that was the thinking.
Well, luckily he didn't influence the sound of the band.
No.
Yeah. Well, of course, the hits, singles, Perfect Skin, Rattlesnakes are great songs and forever connected with the band.
Yeah.
I used to DJ at a dance club in San Antonio here in Texas, and I would always play those 2 songs, Perfect Skin and Rattlesnakes.
Oh,
and they're not dance tracks. They're not 12 inches, but everyone people loved Lloyd Cole. And they would get up and shake their booty. Now they get up and dance to it. Right. Yeah, it always got them out on the dance floor. Both of those tracks. Yeah. So and then Forest Fire, Not Far Behind.
Yes.
The third. That's a nice one too. One too. But I have to say, one of my favorites, and then I'll tell you my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite another one is Down on Mission Street.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, isn't that a great track? Yeah. And then, but my favorite on the album is Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's good. A lot of people love that one.
Yes. I know it's taken on a life of its own over the years. Yeah. It's just a wonderful track. But
again, that's Neil's guitar playing is fabulous on that.
right, right. Well, you guys definitely saw, all the influences come together, created your own niche in a way, because of that sound, that kind of folky sound, with the modern, guitar, it was kind of all mixed together,
Yeah.
but really well. And then Lloyd's vocals and the rhythm section, it was just a nice mix, nice sound, And I think the public was ready for that too.
Yeah. We did all right.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Moving on to the following year, Easy Pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know why every time I see that, I think of Five Easy Pieces.
That was what it was a play on that. Yeah.
Oh, an old movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Lloyd had been watching that previously.
Okay, okay. There's some great tracks on this one, but for me, Rattlesnakes is just a slight tick better.
We started to record the second album with the same producer as Rattlesnakes.
Okay.
And the record company decided that we needed a big name producers and to be honest, at the time we kind of went along with it, and shortly after the record came out, we were kind of disenchanted with it because it was a much bigger sound than we were.
Yeah, it is.
Than we were actually aiming for. And there's a lot more production in it, and it kind of at times it felt a little bit less soulful than it could have been.
A little detracted a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but in retrospect, listening to it now, 40 years on, it actually it stands up. There's some really good tracks on it as well,
Really good. I mean, of course, like Brand New Friend, Lost Weekend, and Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is one of my favorites. But my favorite on the whole album is James.
Yeah.
That just pulls on the heartstrings. It does. It's so sad, but it's so uplifting too at the same time. It's a wonderful song. Kind of gives you goosebumps. Listening to it. Yeah.
You know what? I haven't listened to it for a couple of decades now.
Okay, I'll go back and listen to that.
I will.
And here's one of the side projects, the Kissing Bandits. And you played while you were still with Lloyd Cole in the Commotions.
Oh, that was before.
Was it before? Okay,
yeah.
Okay, that was before. All right.
I did their drummer. I don't know what happened to their drummer. They were all friends of mine, and we used to do John Palmer and Brendan Moon, the guitar player and bass player. We were the rhythm sessions in the studio in Glasgow, and then something happened to their drummer, and then they asked me to do a tour with them, so I did the tour.
Okay. Have any of those guys gone on to do anything else?
Well, Brendan, the bass player, I took him when I was working with Etienne Daho. I was also working with a French band called Le Valentin and the Valentines, and I got Brendan to come and do a European tour with us. And thereafter, he went to work for Mercury Records as a promo guy, like a promotions. And then he discovered a 16-year-old kid at a talent contest in Paisley called Paolo Nutini.
Oh, okay.
And he took Paolo and managed Paolo for our first two albums.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, so Brendan did all right after that.
That's got to be a proud moment, discovering somebody like that,
Yeah, fabulous. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Right, and then just kind of grooming them and helping them.
Yeah, and made the first two albums with them.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's nice. That's a nice story. Well, back to Lloyd and the Commotions. The third album from '87.
Yeah.
Mainstream. Do you think the title referred to maybe a more commercial sound?
It was probably meant ironically.
Oh, okay.
I almost certainly meant ironically, but yeah. But I mean, the track Mainstream. I think there's a play on words already in that track. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that also stacks up pretty well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I love the guitar in My Bag. I love that sound of that one. And you're just waiting for it. Like when it gets to the second or the third, time on the chorus, it's like here it comes. I mean, you're just Just waiting for that sound, and then Jennifer, she said, another,
That's correct.
another yeah, top track.
Yeah.
And then I also like Hey Rusty. I like that one, as well. Yeah.
Hey Rusty's great. We did the initial recording for that one we did that with Stuart Copeland.
Okay. Right, Police.
Yeah. So we did we did a couple of tracks with Stuart Copeland and Julian Mendelsohn, an engineer.
Yeah.
And we went to Stuart's farm, and he got a studio there. We did some recording and rehearsals there. Then we went into Sarn West in West London, recorded a couple of tracks there. And the rhythm tracks, basically what we kept was the drums.
Yeah.
Because it has his input in the drumming track was really good, I thought.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, go ahead. What were you?
No, I was going to say that then we listened back to those recordings when we were there was a compilation being put together, and the production work that Ian Stanley did to finish that track it's miles better than when we left it with Stuart.
Right. Yeah.
The drum track's the same. We used the same drum track,
Right. Tears for Fears, the songs from the Big Chair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is a nice sound. That whole album too. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Wow. Okay. So he really improved on
that particular track. I thought the record sounds really, really good. I mean, he wasn't particularly good at managing relationships between himself and some of the members of the band, but other than that, he did some good work.
Okay, yeah. All right. His end product was good.
End product was very, very good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sometimes they're not real people persons. People. Yeah.
People. Yeah.
People. There you go. People. They're not people.
Yeah. Although having said that, his mentor, who he brought in a few times to G us up, I think, this guy called Chris Hughes, who produced the Tears for Fears stuff and also produced the Adam and the Ants stuff.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right.
He is a fabulous guy.
Okay.
Really, really lovely and very good at people management.
It was good. He kind of had him as a buffer. He had him as
a
buffer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Good. He was there. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well. Now let me see if I get this straight on the year here. The Heartbeats. You played on a single, "Haunted" and "Can't Let Go" from '87. Does that sound about right?
Sounds
around the same year, probably after Mainstream. Was it?
Probably. I don't remember much about it because it was probably right in the middle of something else.
Okay. All right.
I do remember recording. I think we recorded it at Park Lane, didn't we, in Glasgow?
Okay.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't remember much about it.
Okay. All right. Well, talk about the breakup if you want to. Why 1989, the band?
Yeah. Well, I think Lloyd just didn't want the responsibility as he felt it for looking after everybody else's welfare.
Okay.
But you could look at it as deciding that most bands have got 3 albums in them, and then it's time to move on.
Okay.
And that's fair enough, But I felt we could have carried on and made some more records, but it was Lloyd's decision to leave, so he left, and then Neil and I carried on together.
Right. He kind of wanted to go solo. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I think there were certainly. I think there were some whispers in the ears about, you could do this on your own.
Okay. Things going right. Things going to go into people's egos and.
Yeah. But you know what? It's fine.
Right.
There's all water under the bridge, and we all get on fine now. So.
Right. Yeah. I'm not trying to feed that flame.
No. I know. But after a few years, when I was working with Etienne Daho, in fact, I went and did some recording in New York with Lloyd.
Okay.
I'm not sure, and that was with Chris Hughes and Neil as well. I'm not sure any of that ever saw the light of day, but we spent 3 weeks in New York with Chris Hughes.
Okay. Yeah. He moved. Did he move from New York, Lloyd?
He moved upstate to
Yeah.
Northampton, I think it is.
Okay. Okay.
Quite a small town, he's in.
Okay. I thought I read about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes, you did continue on with Neil.
Yeah.
In Bloomsday. Who came up with that name?
Chris came up with the name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Neil and I had done some demos. Just I was doing programming stuff and then sending it. Neil and I lived around the corner from each other in London, in Finsbury Park, and we'd be passing stuff backwards and forwards, and so basically making little demos.
Yeah.
And then we thought we need a singer because neither of us can sing.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was that suggested. It might have been Neil that suggested Chris, but it was me that called Chris, and then we started doing that. So yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a process.
Right. Well, Chris is, I just want to say, really super nice guy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I, like mentioned in the intro, talking to him a couple of years ago, but I first got into him through Friends Again.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Bathers, but until later.
Well, I guess Bathers, the Friends Again was the major record company thing, and Bathers was just basically Chris and some friends,
Right. Yes. More or less it is. Well, go ahead. You were going to talk about.
He's doing all right. He's selling out some venues around.
Oh yeah.
Scotland, certainly.
Oh, he definitely is, David.
Yeah.
But I just like that the guitar sound of Friends Again. That that whole sound. I like that. Yeah. Well, you talk about. You said it was the coming together of you guys for
yeah. So so basically the way we did the writing, most of the writing was I would come up with bass and drums grooves. And then, or Neil would come up with a riff and send it to me, and then I would build a bass and drum groove around that. We'd pass that backwards and forwards, and then we'd send it to Chris, and then he would come up with some chord changes, and then we'd do it like that. And so it was all kind of remote. Okay. At the time, it was, I guess, again, still before mobile phones. It was all stuff over the telephone, and it's like, I'll send you a tape. So we'd be sending tapes in the post,
Right.
Yeah.
So it took
then Chris would come down and stay at my place, and we'd do some stuff together.
Yeah.
And then we did a demo. I got us a demo time with Island Records. Where Malcolm Dunbar, who had signed the Commotions, was there, but it was through another guy called Bernie Griffiths, who I knew from Polydor times, and he put us in the studio, and we did a demo, and then they offered us a deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we so therefore Chris came down. We made the record in Wessex, which was where the Sex Pistols and Specials recorded.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, the single "Strange Honey."
Yes.
Yes. Do you remember how that fared?
It did okay. We didn't hit the charts, but we had quite a lot of plays. And that still sounds good to me these days. But it's we did it. We had a producer called God, two names just got out of my head. Anthony Moore.
Okay.
Who was in a band called Slap Happy in the 70s. Anyway, Anthony was quite mad.
Yeah. Is that right?
He was quite mad. But he was really interesting from a musical point of view, but bonkers. A lovely guy, but quite bonkers. And he got in a girl that he'd worked with before to do the backing vocals. It's called Sid Straw.
Oh, Sid,
yeah. She was great. Her vocals are brilliant on it. Okay. Yeah.
And then the album followed Fortuny.
Yeah, Fortuny. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you remember recording sessions for that or any?
Yeah, as I say, we recorded that in Wessex, and Mark Bedford, a friend of mine from Madness, the bass player. Yes. We asked him to come and play, so he played double bass in a couple of tracks, and yeah, no, it was all. As I say, we'd done the demos, and then we went in and basically used the demos as the template to which to re-record the instruments live in the studio with good recording equipment, as opposed to my house.
Did it take long to record?
It didn't. 6 weeks maybe.
Okay, okay, that's not bad. That's
not bad.
Not bad.
And as I say, we recorded most of it in Wessex, and then we finished it in Fallout Shelter Island Records in Chiswick with a guy called Ingmar Kiang.
Ah, okay.
And Ingmar had just done Iron Lion Zion, Bob Marley.
Oh, is that right? Okay, okay.
He remixed that.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Irish guy, Irish Chinese, well, half Irish, half Chinese.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Good engineer. Good engineer.
Interesting mix. Well, yes. I want to ask you about Del Amitri is one of my favorite Scottish.
Yeah, that was 1990. I got a phone call from Justin because Del Amitri had supported the Commotions on the Rattlesnakes tour.
Okay. Okay.
And Justin called me one day out of the blue and said that they were in Park Lane in Glasgow, and they wondered if I was interested in coming to do some recording because they'd recorded the album once in England and it didn't work, and then they went to Los Angeles and recorded it with David Kirschenbaum, and they'd scrapped that. And then they were working with a guy called Mark Freegard, and he suggested me as a drummer. And Justin said, "Well, I'll give Stephen a call." So he called me on the Friday, and I went up on the Monday, and I think I played on 5 out of the 9 tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an interesting process. Some of them I was playing to stuff they had already mastered, but they were replacing the drums, and other things we were doing from scratch. So it was interesting.
Oh, a mix of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Scratch. Okay. Remastered scratch. Okay. Well, I've heard his health is just declining. How's Justin doing? Do you know?
Well, he's I think they've just been doing some gigs with Simple Minds. So okay. I mean, I know he's not it's Parkinson's he's got, I think.
Right.
But when I talk to him, I talk to him on text sometimes, and he seems perky, but he's got to be well enough to be doing gigs, I guess. But
right.
I'm sure he notices the decline more than others do.
Right, right. Well, he's trying to play as long as he can, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Until it starts getting bad. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. My dad had passed away from a combination of that and Alzheimer's.
No, blimey. Neither of those are good.
No, and they could never get the medication right. One would adversely affect the other. And that kind of thing. And they kept trying to hone it, and it just never worked.
And then you end up with a cocktail of chemicals as well, don't you?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So I had a tale of two cities, or a tale of two extremes. My mother just passed away at 91.
Right.
She was healthy almost her whole life till the very end, and he passed away at 76. So I said if I can make the happy medium, maybe somewhere in between.
Mid-80s, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Right. I'll be okay. I'll be happy with that.
Won't we all?
Yes. Right. That's right. Yes. Well, you also worked with, I mentioned in the intro, Etienne Daho.
Yes.
Yeah. How did that come?
Well, that came about through a French friend of mine, Cécile. She was a journalist, and she had come to London in the 80s to interview the Commotions.
Okay.
And I became friendly with her, and we stayed friends all the time. And she, through her, a friend of hers called me up and asked to go and make a record with her, band called Les Valentines, as I mentioned earlier, the Valentines. And while we were there, the Valentines were already part of Etienne's band, and Etienne was about to go on a big tour, so they asked me to come and play with Etienne. So we did that. We did 8 weeks of rehearsals, and we did pretty much 6 and 8 months of world tour.
Oh.
Did a lot of gigs in France. A lot. We did, and with he tends to do 6 nights on, 1 night off, and it's a 2.5-hour show, and I was on stage for the whole gig. Some other people were coming on and off, but it started with me and it finished with me. And so it was 2.5 hours of 6 days a week, intense.
And I was going to say very intense.
Yeah,
right. You're pretty much worn out after
yeah, there's a video of that as well. There's came out on TV, came out on VHS actually. It's called Daho Olympia. So it's we did 3 nights at the Olympia in Paris, and they filmed it.
Ah, okay.
So that's quite interesting.
Wow, was that your first time to France, or had you been?
Oh no, we the Commotions we were in France quite often.
Okay, y'all played there. Yeah.
We went to France quite a lot. We did quite well in France.
Ah, okay. So fans really, you went down well with the fans over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How about very, very nice. He's kind of like in terms of pop starness, he was kind of like George Michael was here in America. He's huge in France.
Right. All right.
Huge.
Right.
We did 65 concerts in France.
Yeah.
And we didn't play to a venue smaller than 3,500, 4,000.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's a lot of gigs for France.
That's a lot. I was going to say that's a lot anywhere really. That's a lot. Yeah. Well, I'm sure his looks didn't hurt.
Exactly.
Did he? Yeah. I wonder if he ever. He had the Elvis Presley looks. And if they ever had tried to frame him up as doing the. Maybe he could have done the Elvis movie, the recent one. Yeah,
well,
that's the
first had their own version of it, Johnny
Holiday. Right, Johnny Holiday. Yes, they did. Oh man, what a character!
Yeah, and in France, you can't really say anything against Johnny because everybody loves Johnny.
Everybody loves him. That's right. He's their own hero. Well, I thought this was interesting. Then you worked with Sarah Cracknell, who's the singer from Saint Etienne.
Yes.
Coincidence? Etienne Daho and Saint Etienne. No.
Well, yes, that's coincidental. Although after I had done, I think it was after I had worked with Sarah and before I worked with Etienne, I think they actually recorded something together. Etienne Daho and Saint Etienne.
Okay, and
they recorded something.
Okay.
But I did this. The session I did with Sarah Cracknell was through a friend of mine called Stephen Laroni, who was in Altered Images.
Yes,
and he produced that band. He produced one of the Bon Jovi solo albums, and he produced Black Grape.
Oh, Black Grape, yeah.
Yeah, and that three Canadian brothers did Hanson. They did Mbop.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
about. Massive. So Stephen did that, but Stephen just called me up because we've been friends from the 80s.
Yeah.
And he asked me to come and do a session. He was producing Sarah, so we did a couple of days there. It was good.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you have? Are you currently, or you have managed some artists and bands?
I managed. Well, I kind of managed the Bloomsday thing when we were doing that in 1990. But then I worked for MTV for 7 years, and then after that, I found a band. I found an artist and put a band around them, and then we got signed to Island Records, a band called Cherry Falls. But the 4 singles came out, and then the record company decided they didn't want to put the album out. So,
is that right?
Wow. Yeah. So I still get the statements every year about how many hundreds of thousands of pounds we owe them. Non-recoupable, of course.
Right. Well, that's too bad that they couldn't have gone somewhere and got.
Yeah, they could have done, but like everything else, I just had Sting talking the other day saying, I knew I could write, I knew I could sing, I knew we were good. We just needed to get lucky.
Right.
And that's really all it is. It doesn't mean anybody's more talented than anybody else. You just have to be lucky. Yeah.
Lucky, timing and luck. Yeah.
Exactly. Right place, right time.
Right. So important. You hear all these sad stories. Bands that artists knocking on doors forever and never getting, a response, and then others it just kind of falls in their lap.
Yeah.
Just they're lucky and being at the right place at the right time. So some of us are more fortunate.
Indeed.
Like that. Well, what capacity did you with MTV? What did you do there?
They brought me in as I had previously done a music consultancy for a startup cable station here, and then people that were working there had then gone on to work previously at BBC, and then went on to work at MTV. And one of the guys said they could do with somebody like you, MTV, and they brought me in, and they offered me pan-European head of pan-European product marketing. Well, yeah, I don't know what that is. No. So what that meant was basically I was dealing with record companies and doing stuff with the live music stuff that they were doing.
Okay.
So through people I know, I was able to book venues and help them negotiate with artists and stuff. And then ultimately I went on to head up the talent and artist relations department for the UK.
Okay. And was that based in London? Was that?
It was based in London, Camden, and then for a couple of years in Oxford Street. They had three floors in Oxford Street, and I had an office there. And then I moved back to Camden again after that. Yeah, it was an interesting time, but it's very different from being in a band yourself.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because you're booking bands. You're putting the show together as opposed to putting your own show together. You're putting a show together. So you're booking bands and you're watching them play. You know?
Right.
Much rather be up there and doing it.
Right.
I got with BMG. I was working across MTV and VH1, and when Blondie were coming back with that song Maria, I put together with the guy from BMG. We put together the European showcase for them. When that relaunched them, that was a big deal. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to give you a little satisfaction, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Doing that. Well, in 2004, was this after the MTV when the
MTV finished the halfway through 2002? Yeah.
Okay. 2004, the band Lloyd Cole The Commotions reunited to celebrate the release of the deluxe edition of Rattlesnakes.
Yep.
And you guys played live several shows.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. How long did that go on for? The playing?
I think we did 7 or 8 shows.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great. That was really good, and we were really good.
Yeah. Was it like they say the magic was still there? Kind of?
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember having a phone call. Everybody, I said we need 3 weeks rehearsals, and I said, well, I'm not doing it. We're not doing 3 weeks rehearsals because our reputation as a live band was really good.
Yeah.
And we've got to be on it.
Yeah.
And so Lawrence called me up and said, "Oh, surely 2 weeks will be enough." And I said, "Yeah, it probably will be, but what if it's not?"
Right.
And I said, "No, I insist we do 3 weeks." So I was ready after 2 weeks.
Okay.
Some others weren't quite as ready after 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really good fun. It was great.
Good that you said 3 weeks.
Yeah,
exactly.
They were more relieved than I was.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah, we should have listened to you up front. That's good. Well, yeah. So that's the question I wanted to ask you. You mentioned playing live, earlier. Do you enjoy that more, or recording like in the studios, that kind of thing?
Nowadays, I don't. I love them both, but recording when in the 80s when you're making a record, it was like you go in and you do your bit, and then you wait for everybody else to do their bit.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you shake some stuff.
Yeah.
I got quite good at pool and table tennis.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I was a good ping pong player. That's what we call it, ping pong.
Yeah, ping pong.
Yeah. Table tennis. Yeah. I was basically all I would do is keep hitting it back till the other guy knocked it off the table. So I hardly ever went. Yeah, I was defensive. That's right. I never
call it unforced errors.
That's right. I caused a lot of unforced errors. That's what happened with me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sure if I tried to pick it up today, I would be at a loss. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you never lose. You never lose.
it's
Competitive
like
edge.
it's like getting back on a bike, right?
Yeah,
Right. Well, yeah. So that's very interesting. Are you still stay in contact with some of the guys?
yeah. I spoke to Lloyd over text day before yesterday,
Yeah.
and I'm due to have a chat with Neil. I haven't spoken to Neil for a wee while. We usually catch up every 6 months or something. And Blair, I've seen Blair quite a lot recently. He's moved out of Glasgow up to not far from where we are,
Okay.
and he's been around here a couple of times, and I've yet to visit his new place. And Lawrence is living in California, and he's over here quite often because his son is plays golf, and he follows him around.
Oh, is that right?
Playing, I think he's playing in the British junior team, the Scottish junior team. Anyway, Lawrence is a big golf guy, so.
Oh, okay. I forgot to ask you, is he related to Lonnie?
No,
Okay.
no,
No, you've heard that
quite a
before.
common name.
Okay. Okay. Thought I would ask. I didn't read that anywhere or that he was, but yeah.
You would hope you would be, but no, he's not.
Right, right. Did you know what I just found out? Yeah. Right, right. Well, well, what else is happening these days? Keeps you busy. What other kind of interests and hobbies and
Well, I'd say we bought this house, this old school, and we're converting it into. Well, first thing I bought when we got here was a sledgehammer and
okay.
a crowbar, a wrecking bar. So I've been taking a lot of walls down and building some new ones.
And how long back in Scotland? How long now?
We bought the place a year ago.
Okay, okay.
So we've been here a year, and yeah, we'll be renovating until at least next year.
Okay.
And then we move on to the garden because it's a school. It's a school, so we're going to have to get rid of all the tarmac in the playgrounds, in the yard.
Right, right. That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's some other outbuildings which we'll convert into other little places we can rent out. So it's good. It's a beautiful place, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've been got in touch with people, a couple of guys that I used to play with back before the Commotions, and so I just did a gig with one of them quite recently at an arts centre with a trio female singers called Juniper 3. So there'll be some more gigs coming up with that. And then next weekend I'm going to London to make an album recording with a band that I'd made our previous album with called The Fugitives.
Okay.
I'm doing that and next weekend.
Next week.
For that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you're staying busy.
Yeah. You got to keep busy.
Yeah.
And I'm honing my plastering and building skills, my carpentry skills.
Right. Well, no. What do they say? No rest for the wicked or weary.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll keep on going till you drop.
That's right. We're still keeping you healthy too, keeping you in shape. Yeah.
So I did the most significant thing we haven't spoken about is the fact that for 15 years I did music for TV and commercials.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I missed that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's okay. I was with a guy I used to play playing a band with Stephen Laroni with. Somebody asked me to write some stuff for a TV show, and so I got in touch with this guy called Ricky Blue, and he was a classically trained pianist, and he was a technical buff, and so I would basically be writing and producing, and he'd be recording and playing. So we did that. We did quite a few different ads. We did a Chrysler ad for the States. We did there's a big company called McGraw Hill in the States. We did McGraw. We did a quite a big campaign for them. We did some media stuff here, did some MTV stuff, did some Kellogg's ads,
Oh, okay.
So and we did a Kellogg's ad which goes out in Ireland and Canada and the UK every year, and they keep coming back to relicense it every year.
Do they? Yeah.
About 15 years ago that started.
Right. Back in the 80s, I guess, it was quite lucrative
Yeah.
doing jingles and that kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
And it ran for a while, you know,
Yeah.
for people. And what was the deal? You could, if you wrote the song and then you also performed it, you got paid twice, you know.
Yeah, you get performance and publishing. Yeah.
Right, right. So that was very, you know, a money making thing right there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've talked to different artists about, you know, they kind of got into that too.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
that's
a guy I used to know for a band called Feeder.
Peter,
They,
right? Right.
yeah, a Grant from Feeder, very nice guy. They got something on one of the big games, the computer games, right at the beginning, and
Yeah.
he's made more money out of that than he has out of any records.
Is that's something? Wow. You know, you hit on something like that, and it's where all the money is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. These days,
Yeah. There's a lot of times there's no rhyme or reason. It's just
no,
weird,
exactly.
weird. But get those publishing rights. That's what. Yeah. A lot of
That's the key.
unfortunate. A lot of artists early on didn't know that, but yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Well,
where it's
Beatles, for instance.
right. Right. Well. Anything else that I missed or that you like to plug or talk
No, I
about?
don't think so. No, I'm all good. That was very nice chatting to you.
Yeah, yeah, it has been. You know, I seem to. I have some Scottish. My dad's side,
All
uh,
right.
and the last name Shanks. I don't know
Shanks.
if you know any Shanks there or have you run into any, but yeah, that side is my mother's side was German.
All right.
So yeah, so I don't know if you know what it is, but I seem to get along get along pretty well with you guys. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was told before that well, it's because you guys like to talk, you know. I said and share stories. I said, well, I like to hear them. So you know,
That's the Scottish Irish. Gets
right.
to the gab.
That's right. It's a good combination. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good combination. So I like to share you guys' stories and listen to them. So
Right.
I know a lot of the viewers will too. So I'll send you a copy of this, Stephen.
Right.
You know, shouldn't be much editing at all, and then you can post it on your socials
Great.
and let everybody know and see what kind of. I always enjoy reading the comments.
Brilliant. Okay.
You know,
Well, it's been very nice chat to you.
nice chatting with you, and all the best to you. Okay, Stephen.
Okay, and say hi to Neil when you speak to him.
Okay, say hi to your. You just have one dog, or
That's one dog. She's down there. Yeah, very old. She's probably barking because she wants to be brought upstairs. She's too old to come up herself.
Okay, my dog's like that too. Yeah. All right, Stephen. Well, all the best to you, and
All right. Love
keep
you
in
to speak.
touch. All right, we'll do.
Take care.